And with me in the studio, I actually have a very, very special guest. Her name is Emma Reynolds. I know her. I'd like to call you, I think you're a friend, correct?
I would like to say we are friends.
Exactly. And she's coming in this morning because, like I said earlier on when I came in here at 8 o'clock this morning on my Toblerone, we are going to be discussing mindfulness. And the thing is, it's a really popular buzzword that's kind of sprouted out of nowhere in the past, I suppose, for me anyway, past year. And I guess what I want to ask you is, where is it coming from? What is it? And when people hear mindfulness, and especially with the word mind, they start thinking, yeah. So I'm going to firstly, Emma, because you've got such lovely dulcet tones. So you can maybe start doing your mind, start relaxing me now. Yeah, exactly. So tell me, with mindfulness, how, firstly, did you come across it really?
Okay, so yes, first of all, yes, there is a lot of sort of misconceptions about mindfulness.
Yeah.
I have to say there's a lot of kind of everything from sitting on a yoga mat and omming, kind of hippie culture, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all, but this is very much more about training your mind to live skillfully, to be calmer, to be happier, to think clearer. To use your brain to its maximum capacity without all the stress and worry that we all suffer from all the time.
Which is very true. And in fact, you can see why Emma would be good at this, because your voice is quite calming as it is anyway. And how did you, I suppose, stumble across this feature? Because obviously you lead a very eclectic, your background is very different in that aspect.
I've done a little bit of absolutely everything. So I trained as an actress, I worked as an actress, I've been a theatre director, and I still am a theatre director. I've worked in voiceovers, hence my dulcet tones.
Exactly.
Events, all sorts. I came to mindfulness just in a really random way. I just found someone had put something on Facebook talking about mindfulness. It's like 3 years ago now. And mentioned an app called Headspace, and I thought, oh, well, that sounds interesting. At the time, I had just had a child, my first child. I was 3 months into being a full-time working mum and having a baby, and just having a brain fuzz, basically. I don't know how I can cope with all of these things. And so I downloaded this app, and I started doing kind of just 10 minutes of meditation every day. And if I'm honest, at the beginning, I think it was just to sneak off and have a little kip.
I love your honesty.
For 10 minutes. I think a lot of mums will recognise that scenario. But then slowly but surely, I sort of started to notice it was changing things. And
what type of things would change? And was it a very severe sort of change that from one day to the next, or was it a very gradual?
It's definitely gradual. I think one of the misconceptions about mindfulness is some way you're trying to achieve if you really go to the very end of it all, to some kind of enlightenment.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come back to that one. At the time, what it brought me, and still brings me now, is just some tools for living, really. So some skills to, when you come up against stressful moments in your life, that you can actually just, before you go onto your automatic pilot and start reacting and, going over the top and stressing out, that instead you just have a moment just to pause and just to think about, what's going on with me, what's going on with my body, where's the stress, where's the stressful thoughts, all these emotions flying around, and can I make a different choice? And in that moment of choice, then you probably do a little bit better than you would normally. If someone swerves in front of you when you're driving along in a car, for example, this is the kind of classic one they explain, your automatic pilot is just to go into your fight and flight mechanism and just start getting steamed up, sweaty palms, your heart's pumping, and maybe you're ready to kind of get out of that car and, have a good chat with that person.
True.
And instead, you can have a different thought, which is just to be a little bit calmer and take a breath and notice that, there's still these things going on with me, but do I need to react or even overreact, be an automatic pilot in this moment, or can I take a breath and assess the situation in a better way?
I have to admit, you're calming me down already. I'm only just having a chat with you.
Okay, good.
And Emma, what about people who would say to you, but stress is a normal part of life.
Yeah, it is.
You can't help things, you can't help the unexpected. And I'm sure people are cynical as well. They're thinking that.
Yeah.
Like, how would you deal with, say, big burly men? And I'm just, using the stereotype of, like, back home in Ireland, big Irish lads. And if you started telling them about mindfulness, they'd be looking at you going, what?
Yeah. Well, first of all, your first point, yes, you're never going to get rid of stress or stressors. You know, events happen, things happen.
They do.
And so that's the bit that you can't change. You know, there is always going to be big life events or small life events. I mean, we just get triggered on a daily, moment-to-moment basis. You know, every time that phone goes and there's another WhatsApp message or someone's trying to get hold of you on an email. I mean, even just an email dropping into your inbox without you even opening it can already get you going, stressing out. No, with your fight and flight mechanism, you're starting to go, oh, what's
That's true, actually. Yeah, am I in trouble?
For me? And so, like I say, it's just an opportunity to train yourself on a long-term basis by doing meditations to actually just be present with whatever is happening, just whatever is going on, and tuning into it. Because quite often we don't listen to ourselves, we don't listen to our bodies, we don't listen to our minds or our emotions. If anything, we try and push them away. We don't want it. We don't want to feel anger. We don't want to feel stress. We don't want to feel depressed. All those so-called negative emotions. And mindfulness is actually the opposite of what you would normally do. It's actually leaning into those things and going, let me just have a look at this for a moment.
Okay.
Let's just see what's going on with me.
And I really like how when you were describing those emotions that you actually did the, air quotes as a negative. Yeah. Because not so much, or what's your take on that?
You get to a point of equanimity, basically, which is just
now that's a fancy word. That's for people that are just waking up and they've got a piece of toast and a coffee in their hand. Could you elaborate, please?
Well, it's just seeing life as it is, as in okay. So, for example, some people find talking on the radio or talking in public a massive stressor. Okay,
true.
Okay, but it's not for everyone. Some people quite enjoy it. For example, Ana Rosa quite enjoy having a chat, having everyone's ear. Okay, so. What is that? Is that a stressor or not? No, it's just a fact that, sometimes you have to speak in public. It's how you look at it and how your body mechanism starts up around it. That is the bit that you can control or not. So obviously Ana Rosa over here has managed to control that stress mechanism quite well, because it becomes a natural thing to be able to speak. And that's something that you can learn. So whatever life throws at you, if you suddenly have to stand on stage, you've got an opportunity to use some of these skills to go, yeah, actually, I could choose to be different. I could choose to breathe, lean into this feeling of stress and actually work with it.
Amazing. And it all really boils down to breathing as well, which is something that we for something that is so essential to be actually alive. I mean, without it, you're dead. Yeah. But we seem to, we're very good at not doing it.
Yes. And not being aware of it. And actually, that's what you keep coming back to in meditation. In fact, should we do a little mini one now?
Okay.
A little tiny one.
Let's do that. Now, if you're driving the car.
Yes, not if you're in the car.
If you're in the car, don't. But if you're in the back, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. That if you're using, heavy equipment in the factory, don't do it. But okay. So if everyone, it's just very, very short. But if you just want to.
Let me just switch off the back music. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So wherever you are at the moment, if you just want to lift up your right foot and place it down. Lift up your left foot, place it down. Okay. And just ask yourself, how am I right now? What's going on for me? What thoughts do I have in my head? How's my body? Is there any tension there? And if there is tension, just noticing it without having to change it in any way. And then if you're ready, just starting to notice your breathing. You might feel it at your chest, or your belly, or your nostrils. And again, not wanting to change the breath in any way, just allowing it to be however it is, rolling in and rolling out. And now, just coming back to the awareness of your body, standing there or sitting there, and the sounds around you, maybe the sounds outside of the room. And just taking a moment to notice if you feel any different to the beginning of this very, very short meditation. There you go.
Wow, I was really feeling that.
Okay, good.
When you were asking the questions, I have to admit, what am I feeling? Well, I'm just noise levels and sound. What's my next song I'm going to play?
You are at work.
But that was really good. Let me just put some... There we go with my jingle pad. Wow, I really felt that. Okay, and I want to hear your thoughts as well. 692 250 900, 692 250 900, or you can indeed tweet. Just type in Barcelona City FM in the Facebook or the Twitter, and we'll be able to read it out also if you have a shout out too. But don't go anywhere, because Emma's going to be talking more about mindfulness and also how you can get involved as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, don't go anywhere. This is Say To Me by Hutikade. It's 107.3. Remember, we are your English-speaking station here in Catalonia and broadcasting to the world. Barcelona City FM 107.3. I was too busy having a chinwag with Emma. If you've just tuned in, where have you been? I've been around since 8 o'clock this morning, but it's fine. It's fine, because I'm here till 10 o'clock with my very special guest, which is can't speak anymore, Emma. You lulled me into a sense. If you were listening into a very sexy voice, that was Emma, because we are discussing mindfulness. Emma actually teaches. That's right. You impart your knowledge, don't you?
I impart my knowledge. I like that. Yes,
that's it.
I'm a knowledge imparter. Yeah, I do. So I'm an MBSR teacher, which is for mindfulness-based stress reduction course that I run. And this was created in the late 70s by a guy called John Kabat-Zinn in America, who is really interesting. He basically, he was working in Massachusetts, my God, put my teeth in this morning, University Hospital. And he was working there as a doctor. And he was also, for his own interest, training in Buddhism. Yeah. Buddhist meditation. And he was looking around at all of these poor patients that basically the doctors had said, look, we can't do anything more with you. That's it. You've got chronic back pain. We can't do anything. And he just thought, well, maybe I can use some of these Buddhist practices to help these poor people to live with whatever it is that they've got. And so he just started this kind of crazy experiment. He basically went to all the doctors and said, give me all the patients that, you can't do anything more with, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to lead them through these practices. And through that, he created this 8-week course. And so originally it was for people dealing with chronic stress, pain rather. But if you think about it, what is pain? Pain and stress are very much related. So people who've got a lot of pain, they're obviously also very, very stressed. Okay. And people who are very stressed quite often have body pain as well. So it's they're very linked. And this course is now world famous. I mean, it's not only used for people who are dealing with body pain. There are versions of it for people who are dealing with cancer, people who are dealing with depression. And the course I run is really for people who are just, suffering from stress. Who isn't suffering from stress?
That's it.
I mean, it's just so prevalent at the moment because of these crazy smartphones that we've got that are just pinging off every 5 minutes.
That is a question that I want to ask you. Do you think that if the smartphone hadn't come into its fruition, as it is, do you think we would be pushing mindfulness as much? Do you think I think in
a weird sort of a way, the smartphone has made us have to wake up a little bit.
Wow.
Because, if you think about it, I mean, even 5 or 10 years ago, you just didn't have these pressures on you. I mean, it's just, and I come from an older generation. I'm in my mid-40s, but...
Well, you look great, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much, darling.
You're very welcome.
But the teenagers don't know any other. I come from a time like pre-mobile phones even, let alone smartphones. So it was a slower pace of life. Now it's just information overload.
It is.
I'm not saying anything new. Everyone knows this. Yeah. But as a result, there's a really basic thing. If you think back to our kind of like caveman and woman roots, we spend a lot of time sitting around doing not very much, and every so often peaking in our what we call fight and flight mechanism, which was allowing us to like race after the food or run away from being the food, basically. Okay? The rest of the time we were in rest and digest mode, which is just being calm. And the thing is, this day and age, when is that moment?
Very true.
listeners, when was the last time you just sat down, apart from my little meditation there, where you did like nothing? And I don't mean nothing, but still checking your mobile phone, or even like reading a book, or and just sitting and doing nothing.
It's a scary sensation, Emma, because I know a few times when you think, oh God, my phone is dying, you get this fear, and it's ridiculous. As in, what am I going to do with myself? It's almost as if I'm about to, it's as if I've been left in a room with someone who could come in at any moment and kick me. You know, it's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to be left with my thoughts. What's going to happen? It's, but why? What's all that about? I'm actually going to ask you a few questions as well. So we've got, Sarah says, she just got involved and said, with a kid, how do you find time for mindfulness?
Well, I think it's all about giving priority.
Okay.
It's all about priority. So, of course, my son, Oscar, is one of my biggest priorities. However, it's also really important that mums and dads or any carers also take some time for themselves to fill themselves up. What I mean by that is to get yourself into a place where you're at least neutral, if not happy. If you're in grumpy mood, you're just going to take that and spread it to everyone else. You've got to take responsibility for the energy you bring into the room. So actually, sitting down and doing 10 or 20 minutes of mindfulness every day, and I mean every day, is actually not just a practice for yourself, it's a practice for everyone else, because it's just a ripple effect. You're in the middle of this massive pond and you are affecting everyone. You're going to be a better mum, a better partner, a better employer or employee, just by the fact that you've sat down and kind of calmed yourself a little bit. Jon Kabat-Zinn says, you know, if you're in a great orchestra, no musician would sit down with his instrument and just start playing. He would tune it. Even if he'd been playing that instrument for 50, 60 years, no one would be shocked if he didn't. Meditation is like that. It's like just tuning your instrument and your day swings better. It really does. It makes all the difference in the world.
Because I remember when you first told me about it, when I first met you, you're very good at just emphasizing how important it is, what the necessity for it.
I mean, we all obsessed now by going to the gym, eating, well, etc. And yet we have this mind, which is how we perceive everything, and we just let it run free. I mean, it's just, we've never had any control over it. You've only got to sit down for 1 minute and say to yourself, let's just listen to my inner workings.
Yeah.
And you're just flying about all over the place. The mind is just wandering about all over the place. They say that, nearly 50% of the time, we are not even present in our own lives because we're so busy ruminating, thinking about the past, thinking about the future. We're not actually in this moment. We're not eating the food in front of us and tasting it. We drink a whole cup of coffee and we haven't even noticed.
That's true.
We're not listening to our partners.
Do you know what? There's someone out there now, just sitting there with their cup of coffee, sitting on the side of the motorway because they had to pull off because they were listening to you. It's like either you're having
that coffee.
Exactly. Either you're having an epiphany or you're just going to start bursting out into tears. Now, Emma, so what is it with regards to mindfulness? I know the cynics out there, that's just for girls. Honestly.
Oh,
so
wow.
how do you approach it? Do you think men need to be coerced more into it?
Well, actually, if you think, first of all, it's Jon Kabat-Zinn who started this whole.
That's quite a blokey name.
That's a blokey name. That's a bloke. Yeah. And then you have Andy Puddicombe, who runs the Headspace app, who is just fantastic. And if you've never come across him, just have a look on YouTube. There's lots of him. Yeah, lots of lovely things of him being interviewed on the TED Talks or whatever. I don't think, no, absolutely not. It's for everybody. And it's even for children. Now there's a big movement going on in the UK for mindfulness in schools.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's in schools, it's in hospitals. The NHS does this course with people in prisons, and it's going into the workplace. So this thing that's come from, clearly 2,500 years ago, the Buddhists completely worked it out, and it's taken us that long to go, they might have a point. And also with MRI scans, so before it was just this lovely feeling that you can sometimes get, but not always. It's not the aim, but sometimes when you sit down and meditate, you can feel calmer. But with MRI scans, where they can actually connect your brain up, they can see where parts of the brain are actually being actively used and improved by sitting down and meditating. So they can see certain areas which are, to do with compassion and to do with happiness. I mean, this is the big one. Like, what are we all looking for on this planet? Happiness.
Oh, blimey.
I know, it's getting big, it's getting deep.
Right now, just a cup of coffee. No, but listen, Emma, right, I have a massive question for you as well. So you obviously, you're very learned, you're trained in this, obviously you implement it, but is there ever a time, because I know people will be thinking, oh yeah. But have you ever been triggered to the point where you're like, you really have to call in on your mindfulness?
Yes.
And sometimes for people that are starting out, are there times where you think, I'm not doing it right because I'm still angry?
Yes. I think the thing is, this is the great irony of it all. It's all okay. All of it's okay. Because what you're doing is you're not pushing it away. You're not ignoring it. You're just noticing it.
Okay.
So sometimes when things have happened, that I've gone, oh my God, I can really feel the anger. It's coursing through my veins. And of course, I still have the voice in the head going, oh, you're a mindfulness teacher and you're getting angry. And it's like, yes, but it's okay. Because actually, this is just a body sensation. It's a trigger. I'm going into fight and flight mechanism. Yeah. I've got adrenaline and cortisol flying around my body right now because it's ready to do something. And that's okay. But me, this other person who's watching all of this, is standing and watching it and going, it's okay. It's okay to be angry. Just breathe into it. Allow it to pass through. They say that if you, actually, sometimes you see it with small children, when anger hits or some big event hits that triggers them, it takes 60 seconds for that emotion to flow through the body. Okay, and if we could just allow it to happen, it would be gone in a minute and a half. But because we have these brains that then pick it up and chew and go, yeah, no, I'm right and he's wrong and I'm going to say this and I'm going to do that, it goes on and on and on. And at 3 a.m, you're ruminating about it and going,
that's the worst time.
Yeah. So it's about that. It's about listening to those voices and going, well, I'm going to work with you. I'm not going to fight you anymore. I'm actually just going to sit with you and be with you and see if I can, through putting my awareness on you, actually let you be.
Almost like massaging it.
Yeah.
Massaging yourself as
Massaging yourself. Brain massage. Flossing for the brain.
I like that. I'm definitely stealing that. Right, we're coming up to 9:30. Don't go anywhere because Emma will be giving us more details as well as how you can get more involved in mindfulness as well. Sure. And before that, though, there ain't no sunshine. What an appropriate song. Aww. Speaking of mindfulness, this is Barcelona City FM 107.3, and remember, we're the only English-speaking station worth bothering about here in Catalonia and broadcasting to the world.
You're waking up to Spanish Irish Chick on Barcelona City FM 107.3.
And we are coming up to 9:34, and I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning, so if you're only tuning in, but that's fine because I'm here joined in the studio by Emma. I'm doing my mindfulness, I'm leaning into the pain and massaging myself. Some dental floss for the brain. Now, Emma, people, listeners, people out there now having their brekkie this morning, thinking they're thinking about everything you've said. They're thinking, you know what, this is good. I like what Emma's saying. How do I get involved? Yeah. What do we do?
Sure. Well, there isn't. Well, if you're also a Spanish speaker, there is MBSR in Spanish. Okay, so that's the first thing. Mm-hmm. In English, I have to say, I'm kind of it.
So are you the equivalent of the Dalai Lama?
Yes, I am the Dalai Lama. And I must say that the Dalai Lama also gets angry, I've heard. He just breathes into it, so there you go. No, I've heard that. It's like, come on, Dalai Lama, don't you ever feel annoyed? And it's like, yeah, clearly. China in Tibet. Yeah. So, yes, you can contact me. I have a website. Is that okay to mention?
Please do.
Okay, so it's mbsr-mindfulness.com. Mm-hmm. And we also run retreats. We have a retreat coming up at the end of August in France. It is 4 hours from Barcelona. And there's a website for that as well, which is retreatsinfrance.com. That's retreatsinfrance.com. This is my voiceover acting now.
I love it.
Yes, and you can also have a look on Facebook. You can probably find us through that as well, Retreats in France.
Exactly. And I'll post all links as well up on the Facebook page too.
That would be great. And it's, Like I say, for me, 3 years ago, I wasn't into any of this. If somebody had given me one of those like self-help books or something, I'd be like, no, thanks very much. I really was genuinely that far away from it all.
Wow.
And I have to say, it's really been eye-opening for so many reasons, so many diverse reasons.
And what was the turning point for you where you thought, no, really, this is such a great tool. This is what we all need to be, I suppose, embracing and not rejecting.
I was doing meditation with the Headspace app, which was great, and I did that for 2 years. And I started having a look around on the internet just to see what else there is, and I came across this MBSR course, and I thought, well, I'll give that a go. And I think what I really like about the course is it's not just the meditations, but it's really a really clear explanation of what is going on with us. Like, it isn't anything that's really sort of out there or woo. It's just that we are getting triggered a lot by life experiences, and literally what is happening in the body, what is going on in the mind, what is going on with the thoughts, and how you can just work with them. Like, we all have this, and this is the good news, like we all have it. And then once you start to learn about yourself, it's a lot easier to deal with other people, because you start to see them going into their triggered fight and flight mechanism, and you go, all right, now they're just being rushed with that adrenaline and cortisol. They're not thinking straight anymore.
So basically, mindfulness, not only is it beneficial to you, but then you can also read other people and thus maybe adapt to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, again, who doesn't have relationships with their children, with their partner, with their co-workers, with their boss, the family members? You just wake up a little bit to what's going on, and you're not just doing the same old. I think that's the thing that's the most tiring as a human being, is going, I can't escape myself. Wherever I go, there I am, doing the same routine over and over, and it's exhausting. I mean, it's really exhausting.
It is. I sometimes just get bored with the sound of my own voice, let alone just me as a thing in this world. So, Emma, what's kind of the goal then? Because you have so many jobs as well. Like, you've got this, you've got, and you're a mom and everything. So how do you juggle everything, actually? And has mindfulness really been one of the cornerstones of all that? I think,
I've always been quite a good so-called multitasker, which actually also doesn't exist. You're just very good at flipping your concentration between one thing and another. Yeah. But it's very stressful doing that. And of course, the more things you take on, the more, you're on the phone whilst you're trying to answer your child's question, you're cooking the dinner, and then you're looking at an email. It's just like, oh my God, just do one thing at a time. And actually do that one thing well, rather than do three things badly. And that's, I've started to sort of go, okay, well, now is my moment to do just this thing. Okay, that thing's finished. That thing's coming in, but that can wait. I will move on to the next thing. And therefore, you've also got more, in a strange way, you have more time. This is the whole thing's like upside down. So you spend 20 minutes in the morning meditating, and yet somehow that creates more space in your life, because you're not ruminating, you're not stressing, you're not making kind of endless crazy lists or getting all het up about something and then having to calm yourself down again. And
that's it, actually, because getting upset when then the thing itself turns out to be okay. That's a very frustrating feeling, because you're like, oh, it's fine. I'm like,
and sometimes you make things worse, because you think, I've got to act now, I've got to sort it out, and it's like, actually just give that thing a little bit of space.
The amount of times I've jumped, like I went nuclear because I shouldn't have, and then it just feels like it's just very tiring as well.
It is. It's exhausting.
Right, well, listen, Emma, thank you so much for coming in today, and I'd say, have you got any advice? Is there one thing we all should do today throughout something that's very simple, and maybe we can take this now? So if you're still on the side of the motorway wondering honestly, where everything's gone wrong,
it's not gone wrong. First of all, person by the side of the motorway, it's all gone right, because you've woken up, you've realised,
and not crashed into anyone.
I think breathing, you absolutely nailed it. That breathing, like when you start to feel yourself rising up about anything at all, just go. Just take 3 deep breaths.
Tell you what, I think it's very exciting as well, if you're there with your bagel this morning listening to that. They've just tuned in, they're like, I don't know what I'm listening to, but I like it.
Anna Rosa.
Sorry. So three nice breaths.
3 nice breaths. And just notice how you're feeling, and try not to judge it. Just go, wow, yeah, look, there's loads of anger here, or wow, I'm actually feeling a bit sad at the moment. That's okay. Let that just be. let it be.
I like
let
that.
it be, man.
I
Have you
think-
got your sticks and Beatles
I
on?
know, yeah. I think I know my playlist now. Listen, Emma, thank you so much. And remember, if you want any more information, especially on the retreat, you just type in retreatsinfrance.com or MBSR-mindfulness.com as well, and you'll have all the details. And Emma, what's the plan for the rest of the day? Are you going to have a fruitful, breathing filled day?
Well, it's time to pack the house and scoot off to France.
Oh,
Escape this Barcelona heat.
Oh no, when are you off?
Literally, my partner's going today and I'm off tomorrow.
Oh, well, listen, Emma, have an amazing time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and remember, if you want any more details on any of this, just follow us on Facebook page as well and on Twitter too. This is Foles on 107.3.